Thank you very much, Keith. I appreciate that. And to you listening to this podcast right now, welcome. We've got an awesome show for you today. I've got a superstar guest in, the first guest we've ever had on the agency podcast. And it's an absolute doozy for you guys. I can't wait to introduce you to Kole Riggs, all the way from Cincinnati, Ohio. Kole, how are you, my friend?
Not doing too bad. Things are doing pretty well, man. It's been a crazy day, a little bit windy outside, so
A little bit windy out in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So that's where you're in. So Cincinnati is the actual, like, that's the town
Yeah.
that you're in, the city that you're in right now.
Old 513, if anyone happens to know. That's
Shout
the
out.
area code. Yeah,
Shout out
man.
to all you 513s.
Yeah, buddy. But yeah, man, it's been going good. I think just like everyone else, it's been a little bit crazy the past 30, 40 days, maybe a little bit longer for people that's not in the States. But it's been an interesting ride, man.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's for a lot of people. If you're listening to this during the COVID-19 crisis, the coronavirus crisis, you'll know what we're talking about. But if you're listening to this afterwards, maybe this is just a cast that you wanted to find out a little bit about what it was like in those times. I'm sure we're going to talk a little bit about it at the moment. But basically, Kole is an agency owner. He runs an agency from the States, and you have staff all over the world, right? Or is all your staff in America?
Yeah, so I have 3 outside staff. We have a team of 5. We had just recently grown to 6, but we have a team of 6 right now, and everything's going really well. We have 3 people, a couple people in the Philippines, one guy in UK, and then some of them are here in the States. So it's pretty great.
Epic. So basically today we're going to go deep. So if you're listening to this right now, you're an agency owner, you got to stick around because we're going to go a little bit into how it all got started for Kole, and then we're going to be talking about some of the actual strategical stuff that he's implemented in his agency, some of the new things he's working on, which is really exciting. He was just telling me about it before. Amazing, crazy stuff. So you got to listen to this one. And we'll probably touch on the whole coronavirus thing as well. So if you are an agency owner dealing with that stuff right now, you got to listen to this because we're going to give away some cool shit in this podcast. Always value first, Kole. Am I right?
Right. We're going to hopefully through this podcast find the cure to coronavirus and solve all world problems. That is the key goal here of this podcast.
Yeah, we only have an hour, so we'll solve coronavirus. We'll come back for a second episode for world hunger, and we'll deal with all the rest of it.
I mean, it's great.
Well.
I think we'll just feed everyone rice. I think that's the solution. Rice is pretty good. So
yeah, I love rice, man. So dude, welcome, man. Welcome to the cast.
Well, thanks, man. It's a pleasure to be on here. I'm excited that we got to be connected and to really just dive into this whole venture with you. I really hope everything you can crush it with this. So you and your contacts have a ton of great information. So
well, this is the whole thing, man, and this is why I'm creating the podcast, and this is why I wanted to have people like you on the cast. Is like for me, it's just about spreading knowledge, right? It's just about adding immense value. It's about connecting with people in this industry, this beautiful industry that is the digital marketing industry around the world. I feel like it's a really tight-knit community. There's some awesome people in here. And this is just, another way that I can communicate and create a relationship with people all over the world. And dude, I don't even remember how you and I connected, but, I feel like you and I have grown to be quite close over the last, couple of months. Hopefully you consider me a friend. I consider you a friend. So,
I completely hate you. But I mean, aside from that, just basic stuff. But I believe we actually got connected because you had a really great piece of content out there. And it just really rung to a lot of the things that I've sort of worked through. And I was like, okay, God, great. This guy definitely knows his shit. And, I don't really want to, not that I have a problem, but I really want to always be surrounding myself with people that know their shit and have their stuff together or at least really working hard to try to be in that realm. You might not be an A player, but the fact that you're trying to be an A player, like the other people in our community, I think is really awesome to see. So got to be around a lot of positive vibes. And I think you just sort of embody that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, man. And dude, the same with you, man. Like I've noticed straight away that you're just so open and willing to have a conversation. You're very open about how your agency works. I remember one of the first times we actually jumped on a call, and if you are an agency owner, you should absolutely do this, is talk to people who have done the agency thing, that actually have gone to that level that you're not at yet. And I did that with Kole. I called him up and I'm like, hey man, just give me a bit of a rundown of how it all works. And you were more than happy to to give me that information, man. And that was amazing. I don't know if you've seen my PDF, my 46-page PDF that kind of outlines my 7-figure roadmap for agency owners,
Yeah.
but there's a little thank you note on the second page. Kole Riggs is right there, mate.
Yeah, man.
So
I'll have to reread it. I saw it whenever you were first sending it out, but I didn't dive into it because I was like, yeah, all of this is pretty solid. You know, I have a slightly different path that I took than what's in there, but I definitely see that if people can follow the model, you may not, again, like not everything's generally a straight trajectory, but you have a really good path to getting to 10K a month, 15K a month, 20K and beyond. And I feel like once people start to hit that 10, 15, 20K a month, that you really see, holy shit, I'm actually building a business. You know, and a lot of people are, you know, in their 20s, early 30s. Not that we all have a lot of, you know, we don't necessarily have a ton of experience in certain aspects of things, you know, so seeing someone that's outlined a path really can help you have a you know, a 10,000 foot view rather than what you're doing on a day-to-day basis where you're going, oh shit, do I need to build a new SOP for creating every single aspect of Facebook ad campaigns or Google ad campaigns or auditing or client, you know, outreach and so on and so forth. So it's a whole thing. Makes
yeah,
it, at least gives you that direction.
yeah, and you make a really good point, is that there are so many different ways to run an agency, right? And to grow an agency. There's not one formula that is the formula that you have to follow. It's one of those amazing concepts where so many different people have grown an agency, you know, to millions, multi-millions dollars, and drastically different to the next agency, the way that they've done it. So there are a lot of different formulas, a lot of different ways. My question to you, my first question is, like, how would you describe the model of your agency?
So the model of my agency is the model itself, I think, is very similar to the structure that you have. You know, we it's a little bit of I'm purposely trying to keep it a little bit more tight knit. I'm not necessarily wanting to reach, you know, 10, you know, $5-10 million with the agency. I'm really looking for high margins and good, like, quality sustainability across clients. So I don't necessarily want a bunch of $10,000 accounts. I'm really looking for $1,000 accounts, $2,000 accounts, $3,000 accounts that I can sort of mitigate and spread the risk. And you'll see as to why I feel like this model was beneficial for the type of downturn that we've had is, you know, some people are really fortunate and they'll get, you know, $20,000 account right off the bat, which is really great. I mean, it allows you to have a lot of sustainability, but all of your eggs are in that one basket. And if you have a crazy CEO, which I don't know if anyone's ever dealt with a crazy CEO that you're, you know, getting paid 20 grand a month from, it can turn like that. And then you don't have a client. If you're bringing them $1 billion a day, it doesn't matter. If they, for some reason, just freak out, then it just goes sideways. You know, I've seen this. We were bringing a client $200,000 plus. You know, they went from, you know, 20K a month now to, you know, quarter, $500,000 at one point, and they were still just unhappy. And this is just their mindset. So, you know, we realized
How do you manage that? How do you manage communication with clients?
you know, I recognize that I'm okay at client management. And so what I did is what I think everybody should do, because not everybody's meant to be a CEO or an owner. Sometimes you need to play a different role in the business. And that just takes being a good leader and acknowledging that. Is I brought on someone that is just way, 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 way better than me at client communication, client management. You know, he's in his late 40s. He's done his shit. He sold multiple businesses. And I was like, you know what? Rather than me trying to play the figuring out game, let me bring someone on board that really knows what they're doing. And so that's what I did. And they sort of have taken over that leadership of helping to manage the clients. But what I can say is let's see, the biggest thing that I've learned from the aspect of client management is to just provide a lot of value and clear direction for your pieces for your content or whatever you're doing. Is a lot of times your clients are just confused. They're not in the marketing space, and you need to be able to dumb it down, you know, not in a negative way, but you need to be able to make it so it's really easy so anyone can understand what the heck you're trying to do. Some people don't care what retargeting is. They don't want to go, oh, well, we're doing retargeting ads on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Tabulia, all these other platforms. They're like, I don't care. What are you doing? How is it helping me? So really make it really simple so that it's digestible for your clients. Do graphs or videos, similar something like this, so that they understand and they can get to a certain level of competency with what you're doing. So
So with, just to bring it to a little bit more micro, because I kind of want this to be highly valuable to the person that's
yeah,
listening to it as well. So I might at some points go a little bit deeper into some of these
go
kind
for
of
it.
so what tools would you say are important for that kind of thing, for making sure that the communication level is high, for making sure that without going into the detail of them having to know about retargeting specifically, how do you still keep them on track with this is what's
Yeah.
happening with the project?
Yeah, man. So how we do it is I have a series of videos that I've essentially. So let me step back here. I have a sort of a. I call it a proven process. I have a method that I sort of follow, at least on the paid side. We have other strategies that we'll follow that sort of adjust and sort of change based off of the client. But essentially, there's a 4 or 5 step model that we follow, and is consistently bringing clients, 3, 4, 5, 8x returns through paid advertising, and it's just working. And I could dive into that. I'll end up talking my head off for way too long. But what I can say is that we have a model. So it's essentially a really in-depth standard operating procedure. And then I created videos educating someone on every single corner, every single aspect of it, of those 5 steps. And so our clients have access to those videos. They have access to the guide. We also created an infographic form. So it's super simple to digest. And then we actually use 2 other platforms for a lot of client management. So I use Monday.com. Cool. They just magically got sponsored, I guess, there. I use
Shout out.
Monday.com for all of my client management, project management. People, I can tag my clients into there to see the work that we're doing, so the actual project and the work itself. But then I also manage all of our campaigns, the copy, the creative, the approval process of all of that, in Airtable, which is another platform. It's not too expensive. I found that using like Excel or, Google Docs is great up to a certain point. But Airtable has been phenomenal in being able to optimize how we run campaigns and showing people what's going on. So just to jump over that again, is we use standard operating procedures and like a video follow through and like a creative infographic. So sort of like try to cover all aspects of high level education. And then we present it all being done through Monday.com and like Airtable.
So those videos are like kind of almost like an onboarding process where it's like, all right, you're a client now. Because I have another client that does exactly the same thing. There's this whole, basically a funnel that is created for new clients. So it's like, watch this video, then fill in this form, then watch this video, then get set up with this, and then watch this video. So it's like a whole automated process. And then at that point, after they've watched the video, then your 40-year-old guy, the business sales guy, what's his name? So I don't call him the 40-year-old guy. Sean. So then Sean comes in and then introduces himself to the client, and then from there he has that relationship. Is that kind of how it works?
Yeah, it's pretty similar. We try to make sure we have our team onboarded and connected with our people early, because we really want our clients to understand that it's not just, Joe Schmo, one guy agency. We're really trying to build like, hey, we have a team. We have people that have lots of experience. It's not just a bunch of 12-year-olds that watched a course and got the certificate that now I want to take your business for 10 grand a month and whatnot. We're really trying to be a partner. So try to really connect our clients with anyone that we've seen as a valuable opportunity. We want to really engage them with our team pretty early on, and we've seen a lot of success with that. So
that's cool, man. Hey, just on the whole concept of someone watching a digital marketing course and then calling themselves a digital marketer, what are your thoughts on that? What do you think actually makes you a digital marketer?
I guess I'm a little bit of a hypocrite in my statement, but I have to say is, so I think it's just time, experience. You definitely have a certain mindset with things whenever you do that type of advertising for a while. You'll either notice that you're doing a lot of the same thing consistently and it's getting mediocre results, or I think it changes. I think depending on what you're doing. I would say that when you are at a point where you can look at things at a strategic level and plan for a client to go from wherever they're at and to try to build a plan and then be able to execute on that or manage a team that can execute on that and it perform, at or close to or above what your expectations were. I would say that at that point you're a pretty solid marketer.
Mm.
Until then, I think that you're in that education and training and practice phase. I'm not saying that you're not going to practice and you shouldn't be learning continuously beyond, but I think that there's that foundational element
Yeah,
of training. So
and I think what you said is actually pretty key as well. The ability to take someone from not having the outcome they want to having the outcome they want, at a base level, having an understanding of what that system
right.
is really key. And I call it, I mean, the concept that I kind of talk to my clients about is the concept of mastery. You might have seen me talking about it in some of my
Yeah.
content as well, but I think it's just so important to have that intention to actually get a result for the client. Like the fact that that's your answer is really nice to hear, man, because that's what the intention needs to be. And for me, that's what makes a digital marketer is that intention. At the end of the day, whatever client I have, I'm going to get you a result at the
Yeah.
end of the day.
Yeah, and I guess to jump into a little bit to maybe give some people some context into how I got into digital marketing, if that's what you want to jump into, is I actually started getting into the digital marketing space uh, from being a personal trainer. So I was a personal trainer. I went and got my own training. I had the ACSM certification. I was working out of 2 to 3 different gyms, doing group classes, one-on-one personal training. And I realized that one of 2 things were going on. Either A, I suck at sales, or, well, there's 3 options. Okay, it's either I suck at sales, the people in the studios, the gyms I was working at, literally are broke and just couldn't afford things, or I suck at sales and those people have money. I just don't know what I'm doing. It's just a series of things where I'm in the wrong place and I suck at sales. So I realized I was like, rather than just sitting here complaining and bitching about it, I'm going to do Facebook ads. So I actually started doing Facebook ads for myself. I went and took a couple courses and went on there and took the Facebook blueprint certification, did some HubSpot stuff. I really recommend that if anyone's trying to grasp basic concepts of marketing, inbound advertising, and so on and so forth, to really look at things like HubSpot. They're free, really great foundational elements to try to onboard somebody or to train them. But okay, so I took that. I was really starting to get clients and things were going well. And I was like, you know what? This is awesome. This is a lot of fun. I'm closing people because what I was doing, I was essentially just running cold traffic ads to people within, 5-10 mile radius of the studios. And then I was bringing them in, having consultations, closing them. Everything was great. No complaints. I was like, okay, cool. This shit works. So I realized I wasn't a completely shit salesperson. I can ask someone to, make me enough money so I can go buy a bunch of Starbucks. And yeah,
It's a good
so
realization to have. All right, I can actually
yeah,
do
man,
this. That's
yeah,
good.
it was great. And so I sort of fell in love with the whole paid advertising side. And I was like, you know what, rather than being a personal trainer, because I ended up overworking myself because I got too many clients. Actually, I was working like 80 hours a week. I'd be there at like 4 a.m. and I wouldn't leave until like 9. And I was like 9 p.m. I was like, this is ridiculous.
How long did you do
So
that? How long were you a personal trainer for?
about a year and a half,
Gotcha.
probably two and a half years, maybe total, but about a year and a half doing my own thing. Did an internship with a really cool company. They did like simunitions training and like special training for like, military, police academy, firefighters, etc. And went from that for like, sports based training to just doing regular personal training. It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to be training like elite athletes and all this stuff. And I realized I was like, you know what? Nah, I'm okay with this. I'm just going to go do my own thing. So
Right. So then you're working at the gym and you just haven't got enough clients. Like, were you still busy at the time and you wanted to grow? Have you always had that drive to kind of, keep growing?
yeah, so I had that, and what I realized is with the client stuff. So I had about 30 clients at that time. I'd gone from a couple clients and doing the group fitness classes to having about 30 active personal training clients. Each of them were paying right around 400 a month for personal training. So there was definitely enough scale, and I was getting about 50. I think it was about 50% of that in commission because the other half went to the studio. but yeah, I mean, it was great. I was really happy. Things were moving well. It definitely, I ended up hitting what most people were looking for in the personal training space, aside from owning their own place. But I realized that I really wanted to go and do marketing and focus more into that. So I took a big hiatus. I essentially gave my clients to everybody at the studio. I quit the job. And then I went and tried to connect with some of my friends that actually owned a SEO agency. So they focused on search rank optimization and Google ads and all those things. And connected with them and sort of just went from where I was at to literally bottom of the ladder because I knew I didn't know anything and I wanted to learn from people that were really doing it. So aside from
Mm.
that, I was doing that. I was working there as an intern, just working for free. I did that for about a year. And then I also went and got mentorships with people that had started, multi-million dollar businesses, not agencies, real, like specific business, like they sell iPhones, for example, think of like Apple. So like you want to focus on someone that's built the business from the ground up and how to sell. And so I was fortunate enough to have some of those connections and really started to connect with them. And I learned a lot about business administration and management, people management, and working with the agencies. I learned a lot about actual advertising and went down that whole rabbit hole.
So
In about yeah,
sorry, I was just going to say, I'll just
I'm just
jump in.
rambler.
No, 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 it's good. I love it. It's great. So, um, you're working at this business, so you had the mentorship of this business owners that had made these $1 million businesses. When you jumped into running your own agency, what were the lessons that you took out of that? So, what did you learn from working in those businesses?
Yeah, so I guess let me jump forward just a little bit, and then I can answer that maybe a little bit better. Is between so I was working at the agency, and I sort of had a mentorship with them, but I also had three other mentors that I was trying to learn from, and then I ended up getting a job from one of them to work at a video production company, and I was like running all their advertising. So that was really cool. Now, what I learned from it is I would say the most simple concept is that you need to understand that you don't know everything, and you always need to hire someone that is a hell of a lot better than you. You want them to be able to run circles around the work that you do because it's going to make your life so much easier. Yeah, you might have to pay them an extra few grand a month. You might decide to give them a percentage of your business. I say if they're truly a really good employee, to suck it up because the amount of time onboarding and managing, confusing emails of them not knowing what they're doing and all of these different things, like you don't have to deal with that. I mean, you're going to have to deal with it a little bit just with any client or, any employee, but bringing on someone that's insanely good at what they do is going to make your life a hell of a lot easier. So
Hmm.
in the most simple sense.
What are your, when it comes to hiring people, and I want to take it right back to the start and find out what your agency was like day one, and then the progression through it. But I want to just
Oh,
just jumping real quick to just because we're talking about like people that you've hired and those and the rules around that. What are your rules around hiring people? Because I've got friends that run agencies and they've got crazy rules when it comes to who they hire. One of them is like, I only hire Europeans, Josh. Europeans
mm.
are the best people to hire. I freaking love working with the Europeans in my agency. Do you have any like weird kooky rules or even just like principles that you stand by when you're hiring people?
They got to be able to play video games, listen to Pink Floyd.
Pink
Yeah,
Floyd. Mate,
yeah,
look at
man.
you.
But yeah, man. No. So that's not what it is. But the biggest thing that we really try to focus on is that they have proven experience, or at least they can do a mixture of both, of talking the talk and walking the walk. And I've been really fortunate to only have to let go one person that I've brought on. So granted, again, we have a total of 6 people, so it's not a big company, but it's enough for us to say like, hey, things are moving in the right direction. And the people that I've had on board, I actually stole from my clients. I'd stolen from clients. So we've like worked into working with new like e-commerce companies or on-demand businesses that had an existing agency that was fulfilling a certain service or certain aspects that we were providing, and we just came in and sort of just crushed it because they weren't doing a good job of client management. And then we realized they had great employees. And so we just stole their damn employees because they sucked at taking care of their employees. So, yeah, I mean, I don't care if when they clock in, clock out. All I care about is making sure that they're happy, they're not overworked, that they have a good mindset, like they have a good head on their shoulders. They have a little bit of an entrepreneurial mind. I don't have a specific thing that I look for. I look for a good person. And I guess you can be the judge of that, but you can really get an idea of, does someone like what they do, or are they doing it because they need money? If they're doing it because
Yeah.
they need money, I respect it. I understand the hustle. You got to make money. But I really can't have that kind of person, because your mindset's not going to be there. You won't wake up in the morning or be excited to do what you want to do, and you're not going to have that creative mind where you're going to go and try to do things on your own. We consistently implore all of our employees to go and try their own adventures, because if they don't stay with us, it's fine, because we know that by the time they've migrated from us to something else or their own thing, that we know that they've done a really good job, and we'll likely get a good referral for another employee there. So
Oh, mate, that's awesome, man. It actually says a lot. Like that first answer that you gave me, that whole video games and Pink Floyd thing, I think that says a lot about you as who you are as a leader within your agency as well. And I don't know if this is something you put a lot of focus on, but have you heard of, Simon Sinek, right? The
yep.
whole Start With Why. So I read this book that he wrote called Leaders Eat Last.
Mhm.
Have you read that book?
Yeah, I've listened to it. I've read it. Yeah, I got a ton of stuff in it. Yeah.
Yeah, so he talks about circles of safety, right? And like essentially what you're telling me right now is you're creating circles of safety within your agency by sort of saying to them, you can aspire to whatever you want. Like we want to encourage that as much as possible. We want you to succeed. We want you to thrive in this environment. And what that
Mhm.
does, for anyone that doesn't know what a circle of safety is that just empowers your staff, and it makes them aligned with the vision of your agency and want to show up more and actually want to work for that person. They want to work for Kole because, Kole is there telling them, you have dreams and I want you to achieve all your fucking dreams. And that's such a
Yeah,
powerful thing in
exactly.
business, right? Like this
Yep.
is really good, man. So I appreciate that a lot. I like hearing about it when someone's actually putting that into practice. So did you deliberately do that, or is that just your style?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I guess some people have a little bit of a thing on this, but I feel like I learned a lot from this actually through Scouts. I'm actually an Eagle Scout. I don't know if you know anything about that. So Boy Scouts of America,
We have
that whole
scouts
thing.
here in Australia, but I
Yeah,
don't know anything
did
about it now.
I have some friends from there. You guys, some of the stuff you guys build is crazy. You guys are like, yeah, I'm gonna chop down like 50 trees and build a massive structure. Like, all right, it's ridiculous. It's crazy. Anyways,
Hey,
you
I'm
have to
I'm a
like look
city
it up.
I'm a metro boy through and through,
Yeah,
man.
I know. You got to
haven't
get
left
your
the city, so
kicks and walking around the town. Anyways, yeah, yeah. So,
yeah,
uh,
yeah. To
yeah,
Grave
man.
Street,
So,
shout out CBD all day.
oh boy. But yeah, man. So with kids, actually, I learned a lot about leadership, communication, and being attentive to the person the people that are around you. I was at one point leading a group of around 75 people at a young age. I mean, being an adult or a child at any time, if you're managing more than 8 people, you learn a lot about trying to properly handle people, and about everyone has their own problem, and sometimes they just fucking hate everybody. Sometimes things are going great. I don't know, like you learn a lot about people management, so you learn those soft skills, and I feel like I learned a lot of leadership and soft skill management in that realm.
Mm.
um yeah,
It's
I mean,
really
that's really where I feel like it came from.
that's
So
that's awesome. Have you read Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell? Do you know that book
I
at
have
all?
not. It's on my to-do list. I recently ordered like 5 new books this week, and I don't know.
Well, it's interesting that you bring it up though. Like, you should definitely read the book. It's a really interesting take on mastery, right? He talks about the 10,000 hour rule quite a lot in there, but he talks about how people develop these skills almost accidentally, right? So the fact that you are such a good leader within your agency is a consequence of you doing the Eagle Scouts when you were younger. So I find that
Yeah,
really interesting that like you've taken on that lesson and that you're implementing it now, man. And how old are you right now?
I'm 24.
24, man. Look at you.
Pretty young.
Single, or just for all the ladies listening to the podcast?
I don't know. Let's see. It depends on when they're messaging me. I don't know. That's terrible to say. Man, I gotta say, I don't know about any of you guys, but business has definitely put a damper on relationships. So I would say right now I'm successfully in a relationship, but we'll see how things go.
Married to your agency, you reckon?
Yeah, married to my
Um,
agency first. She won't cheat on me. So,
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
uh,
So, dude, let's take it back to day one. So, you've done all these mentorship programs. You've got all this experience working with this agency.
mhm.
Then you move to the video production, doing the job there. You got this
Yep,
mentorship with these $1 million agents, businesses. What
mhm.
happens day one?
Yeah. So been doing all the other stuff for about 4 or 5 years. And then I moved and I honestly jumped into doing an agency almost out of accident. It wasn't intentional. It wasn't like, I didn't see like a Type Lopez course and was like, fuck yeah, I got to build an agency. Uh, Entrepreneur for life. But yeah,
Yeah.
so that's terrible. Sorry, guys.
Ty
Uh,
Lopez, yeah. Sam
Sick.
Ovens. I saw Sam Ovens on an ad on YouTube and I was all over it.
Um,
Yeah.
he knows his shit though. Sam Evans really knows his shit.
Have you done
Ty,
the
I don't know.
accelerator? Have you done
No, but
the
I can just
consultant?
I
Mm.
can tell he knows his shit. That or he just paid for really good, screenwriter and videographer.
He's a Kiwi, man. He's from my part of the world, bro. I'm counting
Yeah,
him.
man. That's
Australians
good for
count
him.
Kiwis all the time.
I love kiwis. It's terrible. But
Like the
anyways,
fruit or yeah.
I know I just had to say the fruit. Anyways. But all right, so to
This
answer
is
your
bonkers.
question though,
Love it.
man. But yeah, I just gotta be goofy. But
Yeah, no, it's good, mate.
so
People come here. I'll tell you right now, the agency podcast. People come here for the value, 100%. But dude, if you listen to a couple of my episodes, I'll just go on fucking rants about random shit, man. Like it's just it's mental. Like at the end of the day, I'm like, this is my podcast. I want it to be fun. I want it to be engaging. So, dude, if you want to talk about kiwi fruits for 5 minutes, then
hey man, they're good for you. Eat them. Anyways, answer your question. So I connected with networking groups around me. Most of the networking groups I felt like a waste of time for me. But I did find that having connected with my mentors previously and then going with them to networking events, I was able to getting some good contacts with people there that even though the people there couldn't provide me any opportunity to work with business, sort of the referral aspect of just talking about the work that we do and the work that I've done with the video production company got people interested in wanting to work with me. So initially, I'd done a few websites for people, on WordPress and tried to set up some things. And things had gone well, and I sort of just upsold them to go from websites to paid ads. That's like an old school standard model for getting initial clients. Like, hey, your website sucks, let's make it good, and then let me upsell you to paid advertising, saying, hey, you got this new beautiful website, now let's drive people to it, so you're actually making money from it rather than it just sitting on the internet. And so that's essentially what happened. Got a few people there. Those guys really loved the work that we did. This was originally in the lead generation space, essentially anyone and everyone that wanted someone to do advertising. I don't care if it's $1 a month or $20,000 a month or whatnot. I'm going to do advertising with you. And I would literally just charge them like pennies, like $500 a month.
nice.
And yeah, so
Was that with any niche in particular, or was that just
I didn't even care.
absolutely?
I just
Yeah.
literally
Okay, right.
just shooting in the dark. I'll take it. And so that's essentially what was going on. And I was like, all right, cool. We're doing great. At that point I was like 5-6 grand a month. So I was harder than it seemed. It's so much harder than people make it sound like it should be. Like, oh, just go get like one client and then you're like 20 grand a month. And there you go. Now you can go buy yourself a fucking Lexus or whatever you want. It's not the case. It might be for some people, but not for me. All right. I blind and just shooting in the dark, aimless, mindlessly. So
Yeah, that's what it's all about. So, all right. So you got started. You sort of built that base clientele, 5 to 6K a
exactly.
month. Yeah.
I ended up capturing the company that I was working with as an employee. They were underpaying me. I told them in a polite way, "Fuck you, you're underpaying me. Now you're going to pay me as a client, or as you're going to be my client." And so I charged them more. And then that worked, and it worked. So I charged them more than what I was working, that I was getting paid for as an employee. So
That's mental. I love
yeah, it
that.
was ridiculous. I didn't think it was going to happen, but honestly, I was sweating. That was the biggest deal I had. It was like 3 grand a month. My hands were shaking. Like I was like, "Fuck, am I going to be able to close this?" Like I was just working for you 2 weeks ago. So, but yeah, it was pretty exciting. So
That's mental. That's mental
I,
that they accepted that. It's amazing. I love that.
yeah, I mean, it's great. I didn't even need a resume to get a job there because the types of entrepreneurs that I was connected with, that's why I say it's really important to connect with good people, is they didn't care about the resume. They want to know, what's your experience? What's the head on your shoulders? So
yeah, that's powerful stuff. Okay, so all right. So then you start getting a little bit of momentum. You got some more clients. At this point, it's just you, right?
it's me, just me.
And so
So I
then
have
how did you then sort of transition into hiring people?
I realized this is actually right whenever I realized I need to hire someone that has a hell of a lot more experience than me in client management, communication, sales, and so on. Um, I've done a lot of B2C sales through, the personal training. It's its own aspect of really B2C sales. It almost feels, C2C, consumer to consumer, depending on how you do it. But this is just different type of relationship, business to business, trying to establish a really professional tone and almost a corporate manner, whether it's a corporate entity or not. So brought on Sean, amazing guy, so he knows his shit. He's been doing this stuff for years and years. He's in his late 40s and he's been building businesses and selling them for, the last 25. So
Mm.
he knows what he's doing, had a few great exits. So he
That's
came
so
on
good.
board.
Having that on the team must be so invaluable, man. Having someone with that experience, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And
Especially with you, you know.
I literally gave him almost all of my money every
Hmm.
single month. Like the whole aspect of eating last, I was like, well, fuck it. I'm going to just, I literally went and took side jobs so I could just pay myself because I wanted to make sure that he was going to be okay. So I just, because it doesn't make sense for me to pay myself if I can't afford it in the first, I'll eat eventually. I'll be okay. I'm young. I don't have kids. I don't got really, really any responsibilities. So I'm just going to deal with that. So I just essentially was just giving him everything that I could, and that just worked out well. And so having him on board, he actually helped us get the next few accounts that we have, which have been amazing clients. Like, this is how I was saying this is actually what got me into saying, like, I don't want these big egg accounts, because he got us a $12,000 a month account, which is like, holy shit, $12,000 a month. That's double what I'm like making right now. This is amazing. And then I realized how much work, all these things that they want. And I realized I was like, I can't do that. So again, just a reminder, at this time, I was literally doing anything and everything in terms of marketing. If it was marketing, I'm going to do it. If you need me to handwrite pamphlets and mail those things out to all of your people, like, I'll do it. Like, I literally would do anything. But I was trying to get everyone to like Facebook advertising, Google ads, because that's what I really knew. I just didn't have the right clients. So
That's
um,
interesting. Yeah. I was going to ask
so
you about how systemized your agency is. So now, like, was this a while ago that this was happening, or is this kind of still how,
2
how it
years
operates
ago. So
2
I've
years
been in
ago?
the business has been open for about 2 years now. Actually, a little bit over 2 years. And in the first 6 months, 6, 7 months, it was literally just a shot in the dark. Close your eyes, see what works. And I didn't have a process. It was just me. Why would I? I don't think about a process. You just try to figure things out. You just literally trying to draw that line and keep it moving forward. And bringing him on board. So we got a couple new clients that were bigger accounts. One of those accounts immediately went away. Couldn't manage it, trash, because no standard operating procedures. They got upset that didn't work out too well, but we did steal one of their damn employees. So that's the third guy that we brought on.
Just taking employees, or is that's the company that you took the employees from? Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to
So
say you've done that from multiple companies now. It's just one of
three,
the
three, three employees. It was great. So
mental.
uh,
Nice. So you get an employee
but
out of it, and then
yeah,
so
I
is
got
it?
an employee out of it. I got someone I get to pay, get to have them bleed my pockets a little bit more. It's great. So, still not eating, still just in photosynthesizing my life over here. Just like, but it's great. So, brought him on board. This guy is a really great creative. He knows his shit, way better writer than me. And so I was like, okay, cool. He's actually going to be able to help me properly start to create standard operating procedures, because I have someone that understands client management and sales and the high level business structure of how a business should be. I have a pretty good understanding of marketing at this point. I'm starting to fail. I've failed a lot, which is key to, I think, really figuring things out and moving in a forward trajectory. Then I brought this, the third employee on, and he really understands the creative aspect, the editing, the copywriting, the positioning, and properly selling a product or a service online. And we were able to start to create our standard operating procedures. And 3 months from there, creating some videos, some documents, and sort of flows for things, it just made life a hell of a lot easier. So that was the biggest turning point. And from there, we were able to get much better results for our clients. And then we were actually able to start looking at things much more strategically, because we can look at things now at a quarterly level, saying, hey, this is what our plan is for the quarter. Here's what our plan is for the next quarter, and so on. So we'd work on a quarterly by quarterly basis with our clients, have our meetings much more uniform, and clients were happy. So we've gotten referrals from that, and that's helped us grow.
Do your clients, do you have a 3-month contract with them, or what happens when you take them on?
Yeah. So call me crazy. I've literally been month to month with our clients. I'm actually in the transition phase. Since we've more formalized the niche that we're going to be focusing on now, I didn't care so much about the contracts. I feel like the contracts are really vital for when you want to sell the business. And you always should be building to sell. I wasn't building to sell for the last year. Really, I was just building to survive and to try to grow something. Just I feel like how a lot of people are. And so I have been doing that, and the transition from that is like, okay, cool. Now I want to start building on these contracts, getting 3 month, 6 month contracts. Really focusing on doing that after I've established results with the client, saying, hey, if you're going to leave us, we do have sort of like net 30 terms where it's like saying, hey, if you want to transition away from us, you need to let us know 30 days prior. A big thing, I feel like if anyone's still listening, gosh, I hope you are a little bit. The whole one person, the cricket in the background is listening.
It's my
Uh,
mom. Yeah.
yeah, hi mom, is set up net 15 terms with your clients. And if you don't know what net 15 is, essentially bill 15 days prior to when you're doing your service. And what I mean is, let's say you start at the first of the month, you want to have them pay you before you do that service the month before. So, I would send a client an invoice on the 15th. And previously, I would bill for the month prior. So let's say I did advertising on January, then I'd bill them for advertising and management in January. So I'm working an employee mindset. Flip it. You want them to pay you prior to doing your work because you deserve to get paid for the work that you're going to be able to provide, or the services you're going to be able to provide. Say, I'm going to get paid. I need to get paid before the first of the month and no delay. So you send out that invoice 15 days prior. And once you get paid, then that way you're already set for that month. So it allows your revenue to be far more stable for the upcoming month because you've already, sent it out.
I totally agree with that. So now, does your agency offer predetermined services at a predetermined price? Is that how it works now?
We have packages that we found that's been really well. Essentially, the packages, we just packaged it so it's not, I guess, as scary for clients. Um, and essentially, it's just almost like a percentage of ad spend. The service doesn't necessarily change too much, but we have entry package, and it sort of grows and changes. Because some people that we bring on board or that we would want to work with, can't really spend more than $3,000 a month for advertising. They're in the seeding stage, they're really starting. So we'll have an initial package and like, okay, cool. As you scale, we'll scale with you. We're going to keep it consistent. Here's a consistent rate. Once you're past a certain, ad spend threshold, we're going to jump to this new bracket, and it keeps going up to that. And once you hit a certain point, then we're doing percentage of ad spend. So yeah, it's not too bad. I feel like it's been a pretty good model. It helps keep things consistent with the client. So not every single week they're getting a brand new invoice. It allows things to set up as almost like reoccurring on back end for us. So you don't have to hire a VA to send invoices and make sure things are up to date. Those things can just be automatic. And yeah.
That's key, man. That's really, really key. I don't know if you've seen my offer structure in the PDF that I talk about with the three different types of services, but do you have some sort of consulting offer, and do you have some sort of an online subscription kind of offer?
I'm terrible. No, I do not. I haven't connected with, I honestly, the clients that we've been fortunate enough to connect with, or unfortunately, I should say, is I didn't see a point in me trying to push that offer yet. But I'm actually in the process of trying to create a online offer that they can go and purchase. So sort of like a downsell if someone isn't the right fit for us. Similar, I think you've noted it in your content, is we're really been waiting to create something because I want to create a course that's specifically tailored to the niche or the industry that I'm really trying to focus on. So that way, all of the communication is directed towards them and pushing them up to be able to work with someone like me, not teach them. I mean, I want to teach them anything and everything. I don't care. I'll just give you everything. But I want to get you to a point where you're like, okay, cool. I've built this to a point. Now I want to hire them to help me scale it past where I'm at. So that's why we haven't done anything yet, because yeah, I could have created a course, but I really wanted to create a course that was super niche, because that's really where it's going to be able to provide the most value.
No, I totally agree, man. That is the right call, because I mean, so much of what I talk about with my clients is around building authority. And You can absolutely be a good marketer, but I feel like when you've done what you've done, when you decide I'm going to work with a specific type of person, I feel like that's when really the authority game starts at that point. And when you
Yeah.
have that authority, that's when you can start offering consulting and those online offers and all that kind of stuff. Because people are like, I want to work with Kole Riggs because he's the guy. He's the guy
Right.
that deals with my niche. He knows how to get a specific result. And, it's awesome. Like you're clearly very, very good at marketing, being able to, more or less be able to, see that your systems will get businesses a specific result, a return on investment,
Hmm.
regardless of what niche they're in. But once you niche down, that becomes almost guaranteed because you know
Yeah.
exactly how the industry works, how the leads work, how the leads come in, the costs, the CPLs, the CPAs. You know how it works. And I think that's a really powerful thing, man.
I gotta say, I know it's. I don't know if anyone that's listening to this hasn't niched down yet. I know it's probably one of the scariest things that you're gonna do. But you have to realize that the niching down makes your content so much better because you can target that person, your offers, everything that you provide. You can wake up and you go, okay, here's exactly what I'm doing. You're not gonna go, okay, well, I have a plumber, then a roofer, then an e-com client, then a core sales company. If you have all these different people, they all take, even though they all do advertising, the model for properly providing success for each of those people is slightly different, and it just doesn't allow you to be focused. You just consistently ADHD everywhere. Whereas when you have just that one direction, it makes things so much more streamlined.
Mm. I call this the unique mechanism. I don't know if you've heard me talk about the unique mechanism, but once you have that system that gets them a result, then it's so replicable. You're basically selling that process. You're no longer selling a service. You're selling that specific process, and that's what opens you up to the consulting and the online program. Is if you want to
Exactly.
learn the system that gets you a result, and you know that I can get you that result because here's case study 1, case study 2, all from people within your niche. Let's fucking do this. Like it becomes a
Exactly.
much easier decision for them as well. So that's a really
Yeah.
powerful lesson, man. Thanks for sharing
Yeah. Sure thing. I got plenty of ramblings.
that.
So
So, dude, we're getting close to the hour, man. I mean, like, is there, we'll start wrapping things up. But I mean, what I want to know from you is a digital marketer listening to this right now. They are in the same position that you were at 5 to 6K a month. What would you say to them? How do they take this to the next level? What is it that they need to do right now to really grow their agency?
I would say the thing I've consistently seen people in the 5 to 6K a month range do is, if you're in that range, you're doing either one of two things I see is either A, super focused on client management, but not on the execution, or you're super focused on the execution and not on client management. And executing does not mean that your clients are happy, and talking to your clients does not mean that you're going to provide success. And so I think that wherever aspect you're on, to look at the opposite end and try to create an operating procedure to make that thing move so much smoother. And so that way, when you're working with your clients, that process can actually start to scale. So at 5 6K a month, unless you have a single client, you probably have 2 3 maybe 4 clients, unless you're doing $1,000 a month, but just like maybe it's 6. But either way, you have enough where you can actually start to build a process for things. So focus on building your process. You maybe don't need to scale just yet. What you need to do is you need to build out your standard operating procedures, so that way someone that doesn't know anything could walk right in and start to help you. Maybe there's a little bit of onboarding, but you want to make that process as smooth as possible. I can't stress that enough. Is setting that up is really going to make it so when you start to hit 10K, 20K a month, that things are going to be so much easier. Maybe your business changes a little bit, but having that process in place allows you to bring anyone and everyone on board that you feel is the good fit to help you out. So, um,
What I love about you, Cole, and thanks for sharing that, man. What I love about you, bro, is that it's an external focus, and I think that is a really powerful lesson as well. The way that you kind of approach so many different aspects of your business is, it's very clients focused. You want to get your clients results, and you want to communicate with them well. That's going to get you results. You want to be making sure that you're creating these circles of safety within the team itself, and I feel like what you're talking about right now is just such a valuable way to run any business, really, not just a digital marketing agency,
right.
any business, is to not look at it as, I'm doing this for me. There's other people involved here, and
Yeah.
a really great mentor of mine, Johan Nguera, he's an epic agency owner here based in Victoria and in Australia. he always talks about like the why of, it's a little bit different from like Simon Sinek's why, but he talks about like what's the intention behind the agency? Like what are you actually
Mhm.
trying to do by running a business? And for him, a big one is like creating jobs. When people have a job, they get paid so they can take care of of their family. So he feels a real responsibility for not only his clients getting results so that they can look after their family, but the staff in his agency so they can look after their family. So
Exactly.
there's so many moving parts. And I think that at the end of the day, if you're an agency owner that is externally focused, wants to get your clients results, has that intention to become the best at what you do, not so that you make more money, but because that you can create more jobs and you can actually go out there and help another business out there within your niche to get results. And, I think that that's such a valuable thing. And even with everything that you're doing at the moment, you were telling me before this episode that you've created this basically a partnership with a finance company
This
to make it
bomb right at
easy.
the end. I'm sorry, guys. We ramble, but yeah, it was this insane bomb. Sorry. Cut.
No, but but this is what I'm saying, man. This is it's indicative of the kind of business owner you are. So I love that. Did you want to talk a little bit about that, about how that all works?
Yeah, let me jump into the final thing for the 5-6K people. Anyone, if you're under 10K a month, really, the biggest thing you want to focus on is the client management, operating procedures, making sure that your process is super like silky smooth. You want it to be as silky smooth as possible. All right. You want it to be like amazing. All right. Now, what that benefits you how that benefits you is because it allows you to get amazing client results where you can create case studies. Then you can use those case studies to try to find potential people similar to your existing clients and to start to niche down. At that point, you're likely not a niche. You likely don't have a niche. You have a little bit of everything. And then you take that and you go, hey, client, I've had really great success with you. Can you help me provide a testimonial, connect with me, sort of like upsell me to this potential person that I want to talk to? Help me get this person. And if you have done a really good job of client management and results, it's going to be really easy to have that ask. So you've done all this giving, jab, jab, right hook, go Gary V, cool. There's his whole mantra is, give, provide results, make sure people are happy, and then go and sideswipe them, ask them for some love, and have them help you get a new client and use that as the initial process to capture new people. So there's that.
Value.
Yeah.
Absolute value, man. Dude, that's fire right there. Honestly, if you're listening to this right now, what he just said is just, that's an agency. That's how you start, build, and grow an agency. That's it.
But yeah, so I guess to transition from that, I feel like that's if you just do that, you'll figure your shit out. The rest of it, you're just going to start mindlessly shooting until you connect with someone that really knows what you're doing. The guy that we're talking to right now. But yeah, you like that little subtle pause there.
We got some listeners, man. Brandon, I know you're listening to this. Jack, welcome back. We got some guys that love this.
But yeah, man. So what's recently happened is I was trying to think through. I was like, what? I was looking at industries that have sort of like gone really well during this time through the crisis, through COVID-19, through everyone being closed inside. And one of the biggest things is lending companies. And I don't care to do advertising for lending companies. I don't know anything in that space. But I do know is that those people are going to be providing lendings to the clients that I want. So I found a few potential partners and I tried to reach out to them. I ended up just recently, like today, got connected. We got approved to be like a partner with a lending company. And so what this lending company does is they're essentially pre-vetting businesses, say e-commerce niche or health and wellness, chiropractics, etc. And saying, hey, here's all the things that they do. They just requested money to provide ad spend for growth in their business. You can become a partner and we can like cross sell both of our services in the same meeting. And so now one of the transitions that we'll be having is we'll be able to connect with the lending company, and when they get an opportunity that sort of fits our criteria of what we said is, hey, we'll get connected, we'll jump on the call with them, and they'll be closing the lending to get funding for advertising or buying more product for their business and so on, or to pay for their employees. And then we'll come in and say, hey, you have scaling issues, you're growing, because if you were doing this properly, you wouldn't need the funding in the first place. So we'll come in and we can help them properly scale their campaigns to a profitable level so that they don't necessarily have to continuously take that funding, and then we can come in and really help them grow. So interesting cross promotion based partnership that we found that we think will be doing really well. So,
and is that only for your niche, or is that for you opening that up to anyone because it's coming through the finance company?
Oh, I'm only doing it for our niche, but the lending companies will do it for a lot of people. We're saying, hey, when you get people from this space, they were saying like, hey, we're getting like 20, 30 of these a month or 100 of these a month. I don't quite remember the number, but they're getting enough where because we only want like 2 to 4 new clients a month in the first place. We want to make sure we have a good client experience. Remember, good, amazing client experience, blow them away, because that's what really matters. If you have a client that'll stay, I don't care how many clients you got. All I care about is keeping clients that will stay for as long as possible. So, I only want 2 to 3 new clients a month. So they have at least double that, and I'm happy.
I should ask you the question as well, because there's probably some people listening right now wanting to know, because I haven't even asked yet. What is your niche? What niche do you work with?
So it's I'll call it a slight hybrid. I primarily focus on this is their moneymaker. They're writing it down right now. They're gonna jump in, be like, yeah, now I do the same exact thing. Haven't had any results yet, but terrible. Sorry guys, had to trash talk. We work with people in on demand and e-com space. So how this works, you can have a business and you can be selling t-shirts. Great. You sell fucking t-shirts. You know what's going to happen when no one has money? They don't want to buy your damn t-shirts anymore. Who I'm working with are people that have an on-demand service. So there's an inherent value to a reoccurring subscription. And then you upsell them their physical product. So there's an inherent value to using their physical product because it elevates and improves their on-demand service that they're using. So an example could be, think of like Julian Michaels. She's got this whole CD set, all this online stuff. It's on demand. You can fall in love with the on-demand stuff. Great. You know what's going to make it better? If you have her on-demand fucking roller bundle or a band, exercise band. You could go to like Walmart or whatnot or Amazon, but the good percentage of people, because they've already been established, already paying, they're going to go and buy the e-commerce product from them. And so we work with people on the hybrid model that are trying to do both. So we help them scale their subscription-based business that's, maybe SaaS, on-demand, reoccurring subscription model, and then also capture people in the e-com space, whether they're just looking for their products itself or looking to cross-sell the product to use on their platform. There you go.
That's epic,
Boom.
man. Dude, that's cool.
That literally, cool. If anyone doesn't know what they're doing, you can literally just try to figure that out. I implore you to try to join the space. I'm sure there's plenty enough for all of us. So
mate, I have heard of no one else doing that, man. You were the first one. I got a client that does RV dealers, and I thought that was pretty unique. But man, that's
the RV dealership, dude. They make them great because those things are made like shit.
They're like $250,000 one RV, so they get one sale for a client. Anyway,
it's ridiculous.
It's crazy. But dude, I'm running over time, man. For you, man, more than me. But dude, thank you so much for
yeah, man, it was a pleasure.
For hanging around and for sharing some absolute value bombs. And there were some absolute value bombs in there, man. I think at the absolute core of it, I think that message that you talked about, where it's like, just get value, create value and get results for a specific niche, build those case studies, go out there and get more clients, is such a key system for growing an agency. If you get nothing else from this episode, and there was a ton in this episode, but if you get nothing else, then that is the thing that I want you to remember. So Kole, man, I really do appreciate it. I know everyone else appreciates it as well. So thank you very much.
Hopefully they're all still awake. They might all be asleep, but
mate, they loved it, man. Don't put yourself down, bro. It was high value, cool. Man. High energy. It was really good. So
you have to get some dubstep in the background.
Yeah, throughout the entire thing. This is brought to you by Wheaties. Thank you very much. No, but dude, you didn't eat any Wheaties that entire episode.
I was talking the whole time. I was just, man.
Mate, there you go. Killed it. Yeah, thanks again, man. I appreciate it. And to everyone else, thank you for listening to this episode. Keith, take it away.